I've made 7 figures in less than 3 years as an Etsy print-on-demand seller from Sweden. But in the beginning, the hurdles are just insane to overcome, whether it's taxes, whether it's what to design, which product to sell, and how to even make a viable listing on Etsy. So in this video, I'll go over how to create a print-on-demand t-shirt business in 5 simple steps. So what print-on-demand really is that you make designs and put them on blank products. Then you take an image of a blank product, put your design on top of it, and list it on a marketplace like Etsy. Once an order then comes in from Etsy, a print provider on a site like Printify then produces and ships the item directly to the customers. And we as the sellers, we don't do any of the fulfillment at all. So the first thing to even just do in the beginning is to just stop overthinking stuff and just start. It's so easy to just feel overwhelmed with everything to do. As I mentioned in the beginning, whether it's taxes, how to design, which product to sell, how to even make a viable listing. Like, there are just so many different strategies. There are so many different things that you basically need to do in order to make this thing work. But in the beginning, instead of just getting overwhelmed with everything, I think it's just important to just get some skin in the game, so to speak, and then just start. And how do you even start? Well, you do that by setting up a Printify account and an Etsy account. Printify is the site that I've used to fulfill all my print-on-demand orders. I've done over 600K in fulfillment with them. So I've spent a lot of money just fulfilling orders through them. They're a great company led by great people with great people in their whole system. And I personally had just so many great experiences with the company itself. So highly recommend those. And I do have a link in the description, an affiliate link, where you can get 30 days of free premium if you use that. So you just enter the link and then you enter the coupon code Andreas, which is my name, just like in my YouTube name here. Then you can get 30 days of free premium as well. But yeah, I highly recommend those for sure, as I've used them mainly to do all my fulfillment of my orders. Apart from that, you need an Etsy account. An Etsy account these days, it costs about $15 to start. It didn't cost anything when I started, but now it costs $15 to start. A very small investment to make, since the potential to sell a lot is highly there. I mean, I've done over 7 figures on the platform itself and made multiple 6 figures in profits on the platform. I'd also want to preface that I've done that in less than 3 years. So yeah, I'd highly recommend just setting those 2 accounts up first so you have that set. Now we get into the nitty-gritty of it all. So you now have a Printify account set. You also have an Etsy account set. Now we go into the fun part of this, which and honestly one of the main variables to actually make this work, and that's research. So if we can approach Etsy and doing this whole POD thing in 2 different ways. So one way is a very commercial way where you approach this business as commerce. Another way is to do it more in an artist way, where you just produce the stuff that you want and then you put that up for sale. I'm a musician first and foremost myself, not a designer. But the way that I've approached this is to set aside my own artistry and just focus on commerce. So the difference here when it comes to commerce compared to artistry is that you basically you find elements that works in different ways and you combine them into something new, but you always based all of your decisions out of data. So that's a quick rundown of it. But basically, if we just go to the first part of research, which is product research, because we got to know what to sell. So we're focusing mainly on t-shirts, but for one reason and one reason only. It's because it's such a popular thing to sell. This is current data that I've gotten from Printify Insights. You need at least like 20 orders, I think, per month to see this. But basically, you can see what sells the best overall on Printify, which is really, really, really good data. And since we're in the heart of Q4, this is stats from the 24th of November as I'm filming this. So from today, sweatshirts is the most popular item to sell on Printify. But that's mainly because we're in the heart of Q4, just before the big rush of Black Friday, so to speak. But one of the top seller basically all year apart from that is almost always going to be t-shirts. The second most best selling item on Printify overall. I've sold a ton of these specific t-shirts, the Vela Canvas 3001. So a big reason why we want to focus on a specific product category is because it's in demand. And with Printify Insights, we can actually see that it's one of the most in-demand products to actually sell, which is why we're going to focus on t-shirts. So that's the first step, the product research. Now we go into design research because we need to actually know what to design for. If I just go to Etsy here and search for T-shirt. And then, since I live in Sweden, but I only want to target the US market because the US market is the biggest, it gives you the biggest bang for your buck basically. I want to go down here, make sure it says delivery to the US, because if it doesn't, the results are skewed. So this is really important so that it says delivery to the US, and it does that automatically for me here specifically. It doesn't always do that though, so just make sure that delivery is set to the US. Then you sort this by physical items, and then you attach the star seller filter. Then you go to the search bar here, you swap out star for best, and now you only see the best sellers for a given niche. Niche now, would basically the keyword is a T-shirt. So what's ranking for just for the word T-shirt? There's a lot of things that we can just see from here. But the best way to approach research in and of it all, and first and foremost design research now, is to find a couple shops that has a lot of reviews and then download their backend data through a third-party app called Everbee. So let's see here. What we want to look at is this specific number here. This is the review count. So we'll take this one. We want to have a huge shop, for instance. We can take this one and this one. We'll start with these. What we then basically do is that we go into the shop, and then we go here to, and if you have the Everbee plugin, you will see this little thing pop up. But it's a great fast track to actually get some good data on what to design for and how to make and what to have in your listing, so to speak. So you click Analyze Shop here, and then let's see here, you click Export. Wait, let's see here, 400. Yep, Analyze Shop, and then you click Export. They've just done some new things to their user interface, so this looks a bit different than usually. But basically, when you click Export here, you have all the projected data from the shop and all their listings. And then we go to the next one that we found. Go here, Analyze Shop, same thing. We click Export, and then we go to the last one. We go to here, Analyze Shop, and then Export again. Now we got a CSV file in our email that we can then import into a Google Sheets file. And so I would do this for every specific CSV file that you have, and you want at least 5 to 10 shops that has done the sales that you would want to make, so that you know that these are shops that you want to be like, so to speak. And to be even more specific than that, that they could be like in the niches that you want to be in, and they have the type of designs that you want to make. But most importantly, the main metric to go after is that they have the sales that you want in a given time frame. You want to make sure that they are successful within like 1 to 3 years, and that they have the they hit the sales numbers that you want to hit within that time frame. So once you have these shops, for the sake of the video, to not make it too long, I'll only use 3, but you want 5 to 10 shops. Then you go into Google Sheets, File, Import, and then Upload, and then you just add all of these CSV files here. And then you will have multiple CSV files, and then you should add them all into one and the same, which I've done here. When you have all of these shops in one and the same file, one and the same Excel sheet, so to speak, then you will basically have a master list. This gives us a big fast track to actually make progress with our Etsy stores. And then we can press Command A, and then Command A again, press Data, and this will say Add Filter. This says Remove Filter for me since I've already added it, but you click Add Filter. Now you can basically go to the estimated total sales and then sort Z to A. So basically the best selling listings, like in total, you sort them from all the best selling listings out of all of these shops in just a file here. So you basically have all of the best selling listings from all of the shops that you found listed, like ranked from best selling to worst. So instead of just going through all of these here, it fast tracks the whole research process for us a lot. What we then want to do is take a couple listings that we found here. Let's see here. Let's take this one. What we then want to do is find common denominators within these listings, and mainly in the design first, to actually see what types of designs are actually selling. So just at a glance, this is a super popular item. It has 441 reviews. It's just a simple text saying Mama established 2023. This one is super popular for a Q4, and it's a great way to just, if you have a free shipping model in your store, this could work super good. But a great way to get to really increase the average order sales value is to focus on group shirts, and most likely 2 shirts are super popular for Q4 that we're now, which is why this is bestseller now, and it has a ton of reviews. So this could be a great thing to do. This one too. What we want to see here between all of these, you'd want to have more listings, but for the sake of the video, we'll just simplify it and just do these listings. We want to find the common denominators within the designs here, and then we want to write these up on a list. So we'll just write up best selling elements list. So this one has a cursive font. This one is also, it's a bit bold, but it also has that cursive vibe up here. This one is also cursive. So cursive is definitely one element that's working super well, like a cursive font. But one thing apart from this is this one is basically personalized. This one is not personalized, but this one is also personalized. 3 out of these 4 are personalized. So personalization is something that could be really, really important to do. Since we're in the heart of Q4, we can go a bit further and go into the most likely to Christmas shirts. So we'll exclude this, do the same thing, physical items, star seller, swap out star for best in the search bar. Let's see, all of these now are best sellers here, which is really, really good. So let's say that we want to make a most likely to shirt, for instance, with all of these look really similar, honestly, which means that we have a lot of opportunity to add our own spin to it. But we need to know which designs to sell. Another way to do it as well, if we just want some new inspiration, is to do what I did in the beginning here. Just search for t-shirt, go to filters, and then sort by physical items, and then star seller, swap a star for best. So let's see if we can find some common denominators within listings here. This vibe is super popular, but I always want to go for something really simple. So I would not do that. Let's see here. Okay, I'll actually use the list again. I think it's a bit easier to do. I mean, this is why we have the list in and of itself, because we want to know which type of actual like designs are actually working. And this is our fast track to see that. So let's see if we can find some more. Okay, so now we have some more suggestions. This one has a kind of a college vibe to it, like the font. This one is also cursive with some line drawings. This one is monogrammed. This one also has a college vibe to it. So we'll write up college fonts. We'll also write up, this one was also on the list. I haven't seen another monogrammed one, but the Christmas hat here is really, really popular. I think I have an idea. This one has more of a block font, but we could see that the college font and the cursive font could do well. So what if we do a most likely to shirt with college font, Santa hats, and then a cursive font? I think that could be good. We then want to do is just close this, since we now know what to do. Santa hat is also popular, was also an idea. For all of my fonts and stuff like that, I always use Creative Fabrica. We want to search for Santa hat. You can take this one. Commercial and fuel period usage allowed, which is really good. And then we need a college font. I have this second pointed one, which I really like, so I'll use that one. I already have that one, I think. Yep, already downloaded it. And a cursive font. Let's use a new one. Let's use this Sugar Plums one. Commercial usage license to it on this one. That looks great. Then we go to Canva. We create a design, 4500 by 5500. It's always what I use as my dimensions. You need Canva Pro in order to add your own fonts. So I've used Canva Pro for a long time, so I would definitely recommend that. Now we have our cursive font. And now we need the second pointed font. Good. And then we need the Santa hats. We'll use this one. Perfect. Okay, so inside of this listing, we want to add value. What we can then do, for instance, just as an example, is that we want to do, let's take this one, for instance. Then we can do most likely to. I always want to make the background blue, so we know how it looks on both on light and dark garments. Then we want to make a curve to it. Most likely to. We can make this generic one. Most likely to be on the naughty list. What this is basically called is a scalable design. So that's usually how I want to approach this. We want to make a design that we can easily replicate into several other ones, so that we don't have to create a whole new design each time we want to add stuff to our Etsy store. So what we then can do too because this is, we have used the college font now and the cursive font as our value proposition to this, to basically add some new stuff to the niche itself. We've also added the Santa hat, which wasn't there in the same way before. But apart from that, I'd like to add another element of personalization to make it even better, to make it stand out even more. And what I do then is add another layer of personalization, since that's really popular. And we can, for instance, write Benjamin here, down there. Now we even have another layer of personalization. We can even maybe even write this in this, most likely to be on the naughty list, Benjamin, something like that. Now we have our first design. I would basically make sure to do more of these very popular quotes. And while we are basically doing this, it's really important to check for trademarks. Search for most likely to be on the naughty list. No trademarks are found on this, but it's really important to always check for trademarks, as we can't use trademark sentences or stuff like that in our listings. So I would use like the same quotes or add other ones that I personally know to the listing itself. And then I would just use the simple scalable design and add a personalization element to stand out in the niche. This is how I would add value, since there are no other listings like this in the most likely to niche with a name and stuff like that, because I couldn't see that here from the get. Yeah. So a name is not something that I would add in my listing to make it even more valuable. The last part about in this whole equation is to list it. And once we list it, I would highly recommend to list it at a break-even price. Now, what I mean by this, I mainly mean that we list it so that we earn basically $2 to $4 on every sale that we make. So let's see here. If we just take this one, for instance, and just click Analyze Listing. Now we have a calculator here. Let's see here. If I go to Printify first, if we just go to Catalog, we're going to sell the Vela 3001. So if I just search for 3001, we have it there. Since I always count on the Printify premium price, it's just such a big difference in margin without it. Got to make sure that this is USD. And then I mainly use Monster Digital and SwiftPOD as my full print-on-demand providers to fulfill the items. So 9.13 plus standard shipping, which is $4.75. 13.88 cost is basically then 13.88. Now we want to make sure that we have a $2 to $4 margin for this. And to make this easy, we'll just do it like this. Perfect. Why we want to use a calculator like the one here, in Everbee, is because Etsy always has these fees, which is quite high. So we want to also make sure that we include this when we calculate, so that we're not missing out on profit. So if we start to sell our listings at $19.99 without any ads, then we have our listing at a really small price. We will only earn about 3.73 per item. I recommend earning at least 30 to 40% margin once our listings are actually ranked. But that's for another video. But basically, this is how I would start the print-on-demand journey. Make sure that you just start, you set up your accounts, and then you start to do some research. You put a lot of time into the research, so that you're basically setting off in the right way. And then from that, making your first design and then putting it up on Etsy with break-even pricing. So those are the 5 steps that I would do to start an Etsy print-on-demand store today. But in all honesty, everything just hangs on the design. So I would highly recommend to just watch this video right here, as this one goes through design in depth. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.